Beneath the Colosseum, below the stone seats, below the arena floor, and far away from the eyes of the roaring crowd, there was another world. A world of darkness. A world of locked cages, narrow corridors, hidden trapdoors, wooden elevators, and men waiting to find out whether they would become legends, or bodies dragged away before the next performance began. Most people know the Colosseum as the greatest arena of ancient Rome. They imagine gladiators crossing swords under the sun, emperors giving a signal from above, and thousands of spectators screaming for blood. But the real secret of the Colosseum was not what happened in the open. It was what happened underneath. For centuries, visitors looked at the ruins and saw a broken arena. But beneath the surface was the Hypogeum, an underground maze that turned the Colosseum into one of the most terrifying and advanced entertainment machines the ancient world had ever created. This was not just a tunnel. It was a hidden engine. And without it, the Colosseum would never have become the legend we know today. When the Colosseum opened in the 1st century AD, Rome was the most powerful city in the world. The empire stretched across continents. Gold, grain, animals, prisoners, and slaves flowed toward the capital. Rome was not just a city. It was a symbol of control. And the Colosseum was built to prove that control. Officially known as the Flavian Amphitheater, it could hold tens of thousands of spectators. Senators, soldiers, merchants, women, children, slaves, and even the emperor himself could all gather in one place to watch the same spectacle. To the people of Rome, the Colosseum was more than entertainment. It was a message. Rome could defeat armies. Rome could capture wild beasts. Rome could turn death into theater. But to make that theater believable, the arena needed more than fighters and animals. It needed surprise. It needed timing. It needed fear. And that is why the most important part of the Colosseum was not the marble, the arches, or the seats. It was the hidden world below the floor. The underground structure beneath the Colosseum was called the Hypogeum, meaning underground. Today, when you look into the center of the Colosseum, you can see the exposed remains of walls and corridors. But in ancient times, none of that was visible. A wooden floor covered the entire arena. It was covered with sand, which absorbed blood and helped workers reset the scene between events. To the crowd above, the arena looked like a simple open stage. But below that stage was a complex two-level network of tunnels, holding rooms, animal cages, equipment storage areas, lifts, ramps, and passageways. This was where the real performance was prepared. Gladiators waited in the darkness. Animals were held in cages. Stage workers rushed through corridors. Ropes tightened. Pulleys creaked. Trapdoors opened. And then, at exactly the right moment, something would rise from beneath the floor. A lion. A bear. A condemned prisoner. A painted mountain. A fake forest. A gladiator ready to fight. To the spectators, it must have looked like magic. But it was not magic. It was engineering. The Colosseum did not always have this underground system. In its earliest days, the arena may have been simpler, and some historians believe the central space could even be flooded for staged naval battles. But as Roman spectacles became more elaborate, the need for a permanent underground system became impossible to ignore. The Romans were masters of logistics. They built roads across Europe. They carried water through aqueducts. They moved armies across mountains. They organized cities, markets, baths, temples, and ports. So when they wanted to make entertainment more dramatic, they approached it like engineers. The question was simple. How do you make the impossible appear in front of 50,000 people? The answer was hidden below. During the reign of Emperor Domitian, the Hypogeum was developed into a complex underground machine. Once it was built, the Colosseum changed forever. The arena was no longer just a place where men fought. It became a stage where entire worlds could appear and disappear. Imagine being a gladiator waiting below the arena. Above you, the crowd sounds like thunder. You cannot see them, but you can feel them. Every cheer vibrates through the wooden floor overhead. Every stomp shakes dust from the beams. Somewhere nearby, another fighter whispers a prayer. You hear chains moving. You hear animals growling. You hear workers shouting orders in the dark. The air is hot and heavy. It smells of sweat, oil, blood, wet wood, and frightened animals. You know the crowd is waiting, but you do not know what waits for you above. A trained opponent? A wild beast? A public execution? A staged battle where the ending has already been decided? For the spectators, the Colosseum was excitement. For the people below, it was a waiting room for death. And this is what made the Hypogeum so powerful. It separated the audience from the preparation. It hid the fear, the labor, the panic, and the machinery. The crowd only saw the final illusion. They never saw the darkness that created it. One of the most shocking uses of the Hypogeum was the handling of wild animals. The Romans brought animals from across the empire and beyond. Lions from North Africa, leopards, bears, bulls, wolves, ostriches, crocodiles, and even elephants. These animals were symbols. When Rome displayed them in the arena, it was saying something very clear. We have conquered the world. We have captured nature itself. Even the most dangerous creatures on earth can be brought to Rome and killed for entertainment. But moving these animals into the arena was incredibly dangerous. A lion could not simply be led through a public gate in front of the audience. So the Romans used the underground network. Animals were kept in cages below the arena. At the right moment, workers would move the cages into position beneath trapdoors. Then, using ropes, pulleys, and lifting platforms, they could raise the animal directly to the surface. One moment, the arena might be empty. The next moment, a lion was standing in the sand. The audience would erupt. This was ancient special effects. No screens. No electricity. No modern machinery. Just wood, iron, rope, muscle, and perfect timing. The most impressive part of the Hypogeum was its elevator system. These were not elevators like the ones we know today. They were wooden platforms, powered by teams of workers turning capstans and pulling ropes. The systems used pulleys, counterweights, and human strength to lift heavy loads from the underground level to the arena floor. Some platforms could carry animals. Others could raise scenery. Some may have carried fighters or condemned prisoners. Historians believe there may have been dozens of lifts operating beneath the Colosseum. Think about what that means. While the crowd watched the arena, an entire hidden workforce was moving below them. They had to coordinate timing. They had to avoid accidents. They had to control terrified animals. They had to open trapdoors at exactly the right moment. One mistake could ruin the illusion, or kill the workers below. The Colosseum was not only a place of violence for the audience, it was a dangerous workplace for the people no one remembers. When we talk about the Colosseum, we usually remember gladiators, emperors, and wild animals. But the Hypogeum was operated by people whose names have mostly been lost. Stagehands, slaves, animal handlers, carpenters, rope workers, guards, engineers. These people made the spectacles possible. They moved scenery. They cleaned blood from the sand. They repaired trapdoors. They dragged bodies away. They controlled animals that could kill them in seconds. While the audience above experienced wonder, these workers lived inside the machine. And unlike the gladiators, they did not even receive fame. No statues. No heroic stories. No applause. Yet without them, the Colosseum would have been nothing more than an empty ring of stone. The secret tunnel beneath the Colosseum was not just a passageway. It was a workplace, a backstage, a prison, a machine. And for many, it was the last place they ever saw before stepping into the light. Today, many people imagine a single mysterious tunnel beneath the Colosseum, a hidden escape route, a passage used by emperors, a secret path where powerful men could enter and leave unseen. But the truth is more interesting. The Colosseum did have underground connections and service passages, but the real secret tunnel was not one simple corridor. It was an entire hidden system. The Hypogeum connected different parts of the arena's operation. It allowed workers to move people, animals, and equipment without the audience seeing anything. It made the Colosseum feel supernatural. The secret was not that one tunnel existed. The secret was that the whole arena was built on deception. The crowd believed they were watching chaos. But underneath the floor, every moment was planned. Every beast appeared from a hidden route. Every trapdoor had a purpose. Every dramatic surprise was prepared in the dark. The Colosseum was not just an arena. It was a theater of control. For centuries, the Colosseum was used for games, hunts, executions, and public spectacles. But eventually, the empire changed. Rome weakened. Money became harder to find. Public games became less common. Christian influence grew. The old appetite for gladiatorial combat began to fade. The underground machine that once shook with movement became quiet. The elevators stopped rising. The cages emptied. The trapdoors rotted. The wooden arena floor disappeared. Earthquakes damaged the structure. Stones were removed and reused in other buildings. Metal clamps were stripped from the walls. The Colosseum slowly transformed from a living arena into a ruin. And as the centuries passed, the Hypogeum was buried under dirt, debris, and memory. The place that once powered Rome's greatest spectacles vanished from sight. But it did not vanish forever. Modern archaeology brought the underground world back into view. When researchers studied the Colosseum, they realized that the exposed maze beneath the arena floor was not random damage. It was the remains of the Hypogeum. The more they studied it, the more they understood how advanced the system had been. The corridors showed movement patterns. The remains of lift shafts revealed mechanical design. The arrangement of walls and passages showed how carefully the space had been planned. Today, visitors can look down into the Colosseum and see the skeleton of the ancient machine. But even now, it is difficult to imagine the place as it once was. Not silent. Not empty. Not ruined. But alive. Filled with shouting workers, roaring animals, nervous fighters, creaking ropes, opening gates, and the thunder of thousands of people waiting above. The secret tunnel under the Colosseum matters because it changes how we understand Rome. The Colosseum was not just a symbol of violence. It was a symbol of organization. It showed Rome's ability to combine architecture, engineering, politics, entertainment, and fear into one enormous public experience. The arena above was designed for emotion. The tunnels below were designed for control. And that combination made the Colosseum unforgettable. The Romans understood something that modern entertainment still uses today. The audience wants to be surprised. But behind every surprise, someone must build the system that makes it possible. The Hypogeum was the hidden system. It was the backstage of an empire. When people stand inside the Colosseum today, they often look upward. They admire the arches. They imagine the crowds. They picture gladiators fighting under the Roman sun. But the real story begins below. In the darkness. In the corridors. In the cages. In the machinery. In the place where fear waited before it was lifted into the light. The secret tunnel beneath the Colosseum was not just a hidden passage. It was the heart of the arena. It turned death into spectacle. It turned engineering into illusion. And it turned the Colosseum into one of the most powerful symbols of the ancient world. So the next time you see the Colosseum, remember this. The crowd may have watched from above, but Rome's greatest show was built beneath their feet. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy uncovering the hidden secrets of ancient civilizations, subscribe for more dark history, forgotten places, and stories buried beneath the world we think we know.